Hello and welcome to The Case For. I'm your host, Matt Campobasso. Thanks for joining us. Today, I want to talk about a very specific kind of pressure that I think a lot of us feel this time of year. I definitely feel it. That is the pressure to pull off the perfect holiday season, the perfect Christmas, the perfect Hanukkah, the perfect New Year's, whatever your holidays may be. I think each of us feels that internal pull to make it perfect, to capture those memories and set them in concrete and just have it be so everybody can look back and think about, what an amazing time of year we've had. What an incredible holiday season this was. Whether that's matching pajamas, the perfect meal, your holiday cards, family harmony, pictures, everyone smiling in the photo, nobody crying, nobody melting down, nobody quietly dying inside. And I want to set that down and I want to argue for something that might sound a little bit backwards. Imperfect holidays, they're not a failure. They're actually much closer, I think, if we're all being honest with ourselves, to the real thing. Today, I'm making the case for an imperfect holiday season. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the culture has sold us a very specific image of what the holidays are supposed to look like. Everyone together and getting along, the house decorated just enough but not cluttered, the kids grateful and well behaved, the food coming out of the oven at exactly the right time and temperature, and the family photo where nobody blinked, nobody scowled, nobody looked like they'd rather be somewhere else. And if your December doesn't look like that, it's easy to feel like you're doing it wrong. Like I'm the one who's screwing this up. Other people have a peaceful, magical Christmas or Hanukkah. Mine is chaos and tension and compromise. So here's the thesis for today's episode. The holidays were never meant to be a performance. They were always meant to be a gathering of very real, very flawed human beings, just doing their best for a few days in a row. So I want to show you that the burned food, the travel delays, kids crying in dress clothes, awkward conversations, quiet grief next to the tree, those aren't signs that you're failing this season. They're actually signs that you're living it. So let's look at some of the exhibits. First, Exhibit A, and that's the myth of the perfect holiday. We're absolutely blasted with images this time of year. Commercials, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, social media all over the place, right? Everyone's highlight reel of December. You'll see a family laughing in slow motion while they decorate cookies. You'll see a couple exchanging perfectly wrapped gifts in a spotless room. You see influencers doing cozy, low stress holiday mornings with candles and matching mugs. But what you don't see is the argument in the car on the way to grandma's house, or the kid who's overstimulated and screaming because they've had only sugar and no real food for 3 consecutive days. And you won't see the person who's exhausted from carrying around the mental load of the entire operation, or maybe the adult sibling tension that's been there for years and just gets louder in December with stress and proximity. Most of our real Decembers look nothing like the ads. They look like someone forgot to buy the ingredient, someone's flight got delayed, somebody had to work late or be on a call, someone didn't show up at all, somebody drank too much, someone cried in the bathroom for 5 minutes and then came back out like, okay, where were we? If your holidays look like that, congratulations. You're actually not broken, you're alive. Exhibit B is what I want to call the chaos that we actually remember. So think back to your childhood days. What do you actually remember? Is it the flawless folded napkins? Is it the fact that the roast came out at the exact internal temperature it was supposed to be? Probably not. You're going to remember the time the tree fell over and everyone had to hold it up. The year someone forgot to turn on the oven. The year a present got mislabeled and grandpa opened something that was not for grandpa. The year there was a blizzard and half the family couldn't make it. Or the year two people got into a fight and then made up in the kitchen over pie. Specifically, I think back to every year we try to get our kids to take a picture with Santa, and as they've gotten older, it becomes increasingly difficult. I was just looking at these pictures the other day. I have 15 of them. My son is 15 years old. He'll be 16 later this week. My favorite picture is when I only had two kids, and my son looks like he's posing for a JCPenney catalog, and my daughter looks like she's just saw a ghost. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. I don't look at the perfect pictures. I might glance at them and smile, but the ones that you remember are the imperfect ones that made you laugh or made you roll your eyes. The things that go wrong are half the reason the stories are worth telling later. You rarely hear, hey, do you remember that year that everything went to plan? You hear, remember the year that the dog ate the turkey? Remember the year the lights shorted out? Remember the year that dad burned the rolls 3 times and then just gave up? And yet, in the moment, when this year's version of that is happening, we panic. We think, I'm ruining it. This was supposed to be special, or it was underwhelming, or they didn't react to their gift the way I thought they would. But think about it for a second. What if that messiness is actually what makes the holidays special? Exhibit C is what I want to refer to as imperfection as honesty. So the holidays always bring the real stuff to the surface. If you've lost someone, their empty chair at the table is louder in December than any other time. If money's tight, every commercial feels like it's judging you. If you're burnt out from work, the expectation that you'll suddenly become cruise director can feel next to impossible. And if there's tension in the family, old wounds, unspoken stuff, it just sits under all that tinsel. Trying to layer the perfect holiday on top of all of that is like trying to put gift wrap over cracked concrete. That tension you feel, that's not because you're bad at the holidays, it's because life is changing. The people around your table have changed. The dynamics have changed. Relationships change. It's just more magnified at the holidays. And guess what? The holidays don't put that on pause. Imperfect holidays are honest holidays. The year where you don't pretend all the things are exactly the same as they used to be. The year where you admit, yeah, this is different now, but we're all together. The year where there are fewer people in the photo, but instead of faking it, you say their name and you just let yourself miss them. Sometimes the most sacred thing that you can do this time of year is admit, this is not what I pictured, but I'm going to show up anyway. Next, I want to talk about Exhibit D. The holidays are for the kids. That's what people say. That's how they justify the big gestures and the decorations and the multiple Christmas trees. But think about it for a moment. What do kids actually need? And what do they remember? If you're a parent, the pressure around the holidays is unreal. There's this voice that says, I have to make this magical. I have to get this right. They're going to remember this forever. So you overcompensate. Too many presents, too much scheduling, too much. Are you having fun? Are you happy? Is this good enough? Let me say this bluntly. Your kids do not need a perfect holiday. They need a present parent around who's willing to be honest with them about the holidays. Your kids are going to remember how it felt to be with you. They're going to remember whether you were stressed and brittle or calm and engaged. They're going to remember whether they felt like a burden or whether they felt joy. They're also going to remember whether there was room for them to be kids and not just props in your holiday photo. That last piece is something that really resonates with me. I constantly ask my kids to pose for pictures and I can see their faces. And I think to myself, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to look back. But what I'm actually doing is I'm taking them out of the moment. I'm not advocating we don't take pictures, but maybe not every picture needs to be incredibly curated and perfect. Your kids are not going to remember if the stuffing was dry or the tree wasn't Pinterest ready or that the schedule slipped by 20 minutes. If you ask adults about their favorite childhood memories, you're going to get things like, we always opened one present on Christmas Eve. We drove around and looked at lights on Christmas Eve. We watched the same movie every year. My parents let us sleep under the tree one night. It is almost never, my family's logistics were flawless and the sides were plated perfectly. It's not. So if you're in a season where money is thin or work is heavy, or you're emotionally limping into December, hear this. Your kids need you kind, not perfect. They need you attentive, not impressive. Imperfection is not what hurts them. The pretending and the pressure can be. Exhibit E, practical moves towards imperfect but real holidays. All right, let's get out of theory and into something that you can actually do this year. If you want to lean into imperfect holidays, not as a resignation, which I know I've been there, like on Christmas Eve, thinking like I give up, um, have it be a choice. Here are some things you can do. So lower the bar on output, raise the bar on presence. Pick a few things that matter and let the rest be good enough. 1 or 2 meaningful traditions, one real conversation, one unhurried block of time with your kids or the people you love. Instead of how much can we cram in, try what are 2 to 3 things that if they happen, I feel like this holiday was honest and good. And then name that out loud. If things feel different this year, if someone's missing, someone moved away, someone's sick, a job changed, consider saying something like, hey, I know this year feels different. It is different. We don't have to pretend it's exactly the same as before, but we're here. We're going to do our imperfect best and also be honest about how that feels. That alone can take some of the pressure off of the room. Build in margins for meltdowns. Assume someone's going to cry. Someone's going to be late. Someone's going to say something stupid and offensive. Someone's going to need a minute. And instead of seeing that as disaster, treat it as part of the weather. You don't get mad that it snowed in December. You adjust, you shovel, you slow down. Same thing with family dynamics. Also, give yourself a moment. Find tap out option, I'm going to call it. If you're navigating grief or stress or just exhaustion, give yourself permission in advance. If I hit a wall at this gathering, I'm going to step outside, go for a short drive, or lock myself in the bathroom for 10 minutes and breathe. I just celebrated Thanksgiving with my family a couple weeks ago, and dinner was lovely, and it was so amazing to sit around and talk to everybody. But there was a moment where I just felt like everything was too much, and I didn't say anything. I got up, I walked into the living room, and I sat in the dark on the couch for 15 minutes. And when that was done, I got up and I went back in the room, and I doubt anybody noticed, but I felt so much better. And the key here is remembering that you don't have to maintain one emotional setting the entire holiday. Let yourself feel what you're feeling, good or bad. Then, instead of grading yourself on was everything perfect, pick a metric that you can actually live with. Was I as kind as I could be? Did I treat the people that I love with kindness and give them my undivided attention? Did I treat myself like a human being who's flawed, not a machine that exists to generate magic for everyone else? And if the answer that you can write down to any of those is yes, you did a pretty good job. So, listen, we are in the throes of the holiday season. You can't watch a Bears game without commercials telling you what it means, to have the perfect holiday. And so I want to stop for a moment and I want to acknowledge that my hippie feel good line of thinking here might not be perfect or you might not be ready for it. So let's take a moment and let's consider the counter arguments to what I've said so far. Objection number one, traditions matter. If I let things slide, the magic is gone. Traditions do matter, no doubt about it. They anchor us. But a tradition that survives by crushing one person under the weight of making it flawless is not magic. It's actually martyrdom. Maybe the meal that you have every year is simpler. Maybe the timing shifts. Maybe who is in the room changes. The magic is not in the choreography. It is in the fact that you are together as you actually are right now, not as you were 10 years ago. Another objection. If I don't control everything, it's going to fall apart. Look, there's always one or two people doing 80% of the emotional and logistical labor at the holidays. If that's you, two things can be true. You keeping the trains running matters, absolutely. But you're also allowed to not be responsible for everyone's feelings the whole season. The holiday falling apart because one person stepped back was never a fair system to begin with. So ask for help. Say, hey, I'm not going to be doing all of this alone this time. And if nobody wants to help you, maybe consider whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze. Let certain plates drop. Sometimes when we say it will fall apart without me, what we really mean is people will be mildly uncomfortable if I stop overfunctioning. And that's not a disaster, that's actually growth. Objection three, I owe everybody the perfect holiday because I've fallen short this year. If you're carrying guilt about the time you weren't present or about working too much, about not being at your best, it's easy to turn the holidays into some kind of emotional repayment plan. If I make this perfect, maybe it'll balance the year out. It's not going to. Nothing can. And that's actually freeing, admitting that. The people who love you don't need a flawlessly staged apology. They need a consistent, honest you this year, not the imaginary future version who has it all together. Imperfect holidays, where you show up as yourself, will do more long term than one perfect production that leaves you depleted and resentful. So let's bring this home. We've seen that the picture perfect holiday we compare ourselves to is mostly a myth. It's curated, it's edited, and it's filtered to sell things. The moments we actually remember from our own lives are often the messy ones: burned food, power outages, the travel chaos, the year everything went sideways and we laugh about it now. That actually reminds me of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is one of my favorite holiday films. Everything in that movie goes wrong: family, lights, the turkey, the tree, his holiday bonus. But I keep going back to it. And I think that's the thesis here. It's the imperfect that make the holidays meaningful and memorable. Imperfect holidays are honest holidays. They reflect the real state of our families, our energy, our grief, our limitations. Our kids and the people we love need presence, not perfection. They remember how it felt to be with us, not whether every detail was flawless. We have to be practical to live this out. Lower the bar on performance, raise it on presence and grace, name those changes out loud, build in margin, and choose metrics that reflect reality, not Instagram. So here's my case. Imperfect holidays are not a sign that you've failed at the season. They're proof that you're human in it and that you were present and honest with yourself and those around you. That means you showed up even though you were tired. You loved people even though the situation was complicated, and you tried to make something good with limited time, money, and emotional energy. The cracked moments, the tearful drive, the burnt dinner, the awkward silence, the hard political conversation, the kid crying in fancy clothes, those are not the enemy of Christmas. They are the context in which grace actually means something. You don't need the perfect tree, the perfect family dynamic, the perfect table, or the perfect mood to have a real holiday. You need a little bit of courage to show up as you are, a little bit of humility to let go of the script, and a little bit of kindness for others and for yourself when things don't go as planned, which inevitably will happen. So this year, when imperfection shows up, and it will, try this. Instead of saying, I'm ruining it, or this is terrible, say, there it is. This is the part we're going to tell stories about later. The holidays were never about putting on a flawless show. They're about flawed people sitting around the same table in the same living room with the same tangled string of lights, trying again for one more year. That's not failure. That's the whole point. Thank you for spending a little bit of your imperfect holiday season with me. This has been the case for Imperfect Holidays. I'm Matt Campobasso. Here's to burned cookies, crooked trees, complicated families, and a little bit more mercy for each other, and most importantly, for ourselves. I'll see you next time.
Snow is drifting down the old main street, footprints tracing where the neighbors meet, lanterns glowing in the frosted air, every window singing love lives here, and the world feels soft beneath the sound of Christmas coming round. Oh, Christmas comes around again, bringing back the joy it brings. Carols rising through the night, homes lit up with gentle light. Hearts remember where they've been, and Christmas comes around again. Children laughing by the fire's glow, hanging stockings in a careful row. Old songs echo through the living room, warm as whispering, I'll see you soon. And the memories dance like falling snow from years of long ago. Oh, Christmas comes around again, bringing back the joy it brings. Carols rising through the night, homes lit up with gentle light. Hearts remember where they've been, and Christmas comes around again. Even when the seasons change and life feels rearranged, one small star will still remain, guiding us the same, guiding us home again. Oh, Christmas comes around again, stitching every heart that mends, hope returning soft and bright, love wrapped up in winter's night. No matter where or who we've been, when Christmas comes around again.